This is the strongest field on the PGA Tour this season, with 44 of the top 50 in the official world golf ranking in the field. The players in March had a stronger field, but unfortunately it was canceled due to COVID-19 virus concerns. All right, here are the featured groups for Thursday and Friday. Rahm will play alongside Bryson DeChambeau, who has 4 top 10s and 5 starts since the break. One of those top 10s, a win at Detroit. Ricky Fowler also a part of that trio. Roy will be with Jordan Spieth, who turned 27 on Monday, and Webb Simpson, who won the RBC Heritage earlier this summer. Brooks Koepka has only 1 top 10 this year, but he is the defending champion. He will walk the fairways with Patrick Reed and Victor Hovland, both winners in 2020. Justin Thomas, he'll play alongside Colin Morikawa, who defeated Thomas in a playoff in the Workday Charity Open a few weeks ago. Hideki Matsuyama rounds out the threesome. And with that, we say thanks for teaming up with us here on Golf Central. Todd Lewis, proud to be sitting beside our friend Tripp Eisenhower. And Jon Rahm, as we mentioned, making his first start on the PGA Tour as the #1 player in the world. Well, it took Jon Rahm less than 4 years to reach the #1 spot in the world. Interesting to see how he now handles the challenge of maintaining that #1 spot compared to pursuing it. Our Chantel McCabe is live from TPC Southwind. She caught up with the world's top player today and has more on his attitude heading into this championship. Hi there, Chantel.
Hey, Todd. Well, the last time we saw Jon Rahm, he was not yet officially the #1 player in the world. Recently, he's had a lot on his mind. He said it was such an emotional win, getting his 4th PGA Tour victory at Memorial. He said that was his best performance of his career. But he's had a heavy heart. 2 family members of his have passed recently due to the emotional toll of coronavirus and the quarantine. He took last week off and said he didn't touch golf clubs for 2 days and completely unplugged as he processed everything that's recently gone on. This week, as he tees it up as #1 for the first time in his career, he's excited for the challenge, and he processed exactly what it took to get him to here, how to enjoy it, and how to move forward and stay the #1 player in the world.
I've gotten to this position because of how good I've played the last 4 years, right? Major championship golf, as difficult as it is, it's a 1-week process, right? And if you play good that 1 week, you might have a chance. You can't do that. You can't get to #1 playing good 1 week, right? So knowing that I've played really good and I've worked really hard through 4 years to get here, it just makes me think that I'm gonna have to keep working just as hard or even more and play better to hopefully stay in this position. So it's a unique feeling, but if anything, I'm already in the mentality of hopefully, staying here for a long time. It might happen, it may not, but I will try.
You might remember how Jon Rahm played last year, especially in the fall on the European Tour, winning the Race to Dubai, the season-long race on the European Tour. He said that gave him such a big boost of confidence, really critical heading into the 2020 calendar year. But in terms of looking ahead, Jon Rahm says his focus is not actually on the golf course, but it's something else that's equally important with a lot of really critical events coming up.
Try to stay healthy. I think the most important part now is none of us can really afford, if you can ever afford to get sick, but this time, if you have to quarantine for 14 days, you're gonna miss either most of the playoffs, you're gonna miss a major championship and big events. So I think now we all need to make a big effort and stay conscious of what we need to do and try to keep the PGA Tour as clean as it's been. So far we've done a great job, but I think we're all thinking about it more now. And again, just take it with ease, right? It's gonna be easy to get exhausted, especially because if not all of us, most of us are trying to play 5 out of the next 6 weeks, and you can get pretty tired. So maybe just learning new ways to stay mentally rested, eat the right things, hydrate, rest. There's no special secret to any of this. Just try to keep the routines as as strict as possible, and hopefully play good golf. That's all I can say.
As soon as Jon Rahm left Arizona State University, he had been talking about becoming the #1 player in the world. Maybe shocking, and maybe some people thought he was a little bit cocky or overly confident, but look how things played out. So he is not shy to talk things into existence, and he's hoping that's the same for this year. His goals set at the beginning of 2020 were to win 2 times on the PGA Tour, something he has yet to do. He's checked off 1. He's got his eyes set on hopefully a major as the 2nd one, but he'll take a win this week at the WGC in Memphis, Todd.
Yeah, you're right, Chantel. Plenty of belief in regards to Jon Rahm. Time now for Players on the Rise, presented by Hyundai. And yes, we are going to talk about the guy who, well, we could say he's already there. He's not on the rise. He's #1 in the world. Take a look at what Rahm has done globally in the last 3.5 years. 11 wins and 87 starts. That's a winning percentage of roughly 12.5%, which is great. But look at the top 10 finishes, 47 and 87 starts. That means in those starts, he has finished inside the top 10 more than 54% of the time. And I have really seen not only a maturity in his game inside the ropes, but also mentally, emotionally, kind of getting everything together. And he has really turned it on over the last year. What has impressed you about Jon Rahm?
The learning curve. You mentioned the mental side of it, that we saw he can run a little hot, as you can when you're that age, and, things would happen. And here's where it used to be that it's not there anymore, is things would spiral out of control. He would let that anger continue and can carry over into bad play that continued. We saw that at Memorial. It was slipping away from him, okay? There was some pressure being put on him from Ryan Palmer. He started to slip up. Ryan put some pressure on him. Now, Ryan didn't walk quite through that door, but Jon had a chance to do what he could have done before, getting angry and letting that slip away and letting that spill over into more shots. We saw him right the course at 15 with a par. Granted, it wasn't a birdie. And then what he did at 16, the chip in that we saw, remarkable chip in. The other thing, too, is when I look at his game analogous to anyone, I do kind of see a little bit of Jack Nicklaus in it. Very high irons, beautiful iron flight, and statistically just really solid. There are really no weaknesses. I mean, we see a model for this rise to #1 in the world. Guys that are really great in strokes gained tee to green. They don't necessarily need to be the best putters with that. Now, John's 9th in tee to green, but he's 24th in putting. Now, Rory, his ball striking stats were a little better last year when his rise to #1, but he was also 23rd, 24th in putting. So it's not necessarily the best putter, but they are definitely strong in that aspect. So there's no weakness to his game other than that one that he got in his own way a little bit. And now he's letting himself know that, hey, it's okay if I get angry, but by the time I get to that next shot, it's in the past. And that'll be the key to him staying to #1.
And his mental coach, by the way, formerly was a bomb technician. He used to defuse bombs. So that guy knows pressure and he knows how to handle it. And he's teaching that to Jon.
Yeah.
But this is a new world for him, Tripp.
Yeah.
I mean, he is now going to arrive this week in Memphis, and wherever he goes, definitely to the PGA and moving forward, as long as he is the #1 player, the demands on him from the media will be great. Everybody will want to talk to him, and a lot of eyeballs will now be on him and his game as the world's top player. How will he handle that?
Well, you know what? There's not going to be quite as many eyeballs without the fans. So maybe that helps in some regard. But look, he wants this. He's wanted this. I mean, Chantel alluded to it. He's wanted this from the time he got out of Arizona State. He sought this out, and you know what? Enjoy it. And the one thing I always remember was when Curtis Strange complained about being at the top or whatever to Arnold Palmer. He said, "You don't have to be #1, but when you have the crown of #1, be respectful and do your duty." And Jon Rahm, I think, will carry that torch just fine.
What do they say in Spider-Man? With great power comes great responsibility.
It's true.